Welcome back to At the Hill on the Rocket Productions Network. I'm your host, Alexa Marshall. My good friends Kimber, Lovell, and Emma Hayes will join me shortly. If you have missed any episodes of At the Hill, go find the Rocket Production Network on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, or any place you listen to podcasts. All of our episodes are also on the Rocket Productions YouTube channel. If you are not a subscriber, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. Be sure to check out the Rocket Productions on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Let's get into it. We're here today with the new superintendent, Mr. Lambert. How are you doing today?
Hey, doing great. Thank you, Alexa.
Oh. So you've been here for a few weeks. How are you liking Rose Hill so far?
So far, it's been awesome. It's been nice to be in a town that has a Sonic.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of comes down to that was one of our main criteria when we were looking for a new house was, does the town have a Sonic?
Yeah, that's always
Sonic's
important.
And we've got
pretty
the
good.
Sonic app, and life's good.
There you go.
Good. What drew you to Rose Hill then, besides Sonic?
Yeah, funny. What was interesting was back in November, we were driving through. We heard that there was an opening here, drove through, saw the school, saw the campus, immediately just fell in love with what I saw for a possibility. You know, the campus is just so big. There's so many opportunities here. That was one of the first things. And then when I did a little more research about things going on at the school, it kind of fit what I'm used to coming into and working with.
And now a word from our sponsors.
If you're looking to continue your education, choose Butler County College. It's a public two-year community college located in El Dorado, Kansas. Students have access to over 90 academic programs. They are the biggest community college in Kansas. If you are interested, call 316-776-9429.
Welcome back to At the Hill, and we're here with Mr. Lambert. In what ways is Rose Hill School District different than the last school district you worked in?
Probably the biggest difference is when I came into the last one, it was kind of from a ground up where I had to fix a lot of things. Things weren't good to start with there. Spent a lot of time setting up our goals, what we wanted. We had a town that was really proud, but the school didn't match up with that. So that was one of the things that we had to deal with right away. What the difference is here, the starting point here is a lot higher as far as where we're at, the great things we're doing. My biggest focus is I feel like our level of performance and how we're doing things high, but the ceiling is so much higher where we can go. At the last school, you could tell where the ceiling was as far as what we could do for achievement, how we could get our name out there, how we could do things. Here, I don't see the ceiling, so that's kind of a pretty exciting thing for me as far as I'm hearing what the big difference is between the two schools. What we were able to do there, starting from the ground up, was we just changed everything. We made it into a school that everybody wanted to be at. Here, we're kind of almost starting there. We just got some things that we got to get accomplished to get our name out there. I think that's the biggest difference between the two schools.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Have you noticed anything right off the bat specifically that could benefit from being changed?
Yeah, one of the things that I think that we need to do for our students too, and I know some people that are seniors will say it's changed a little bit as far as ACT goes. ACT is still important. It's still really important. And that's one of the things I think schools have to recognize, that for the students, it's helping them. They're going to get more money based on how they do there. I think that we can hit that right away. One of our main goals where I was at before was how do we get our ACT up in a hurry? We were able to do that quickly, and what we did there, we went from being nobody would, we were running 17, 18s. We're right, nothing wrong with that, but that's where our average was. And then we quickly got it so now 1 out of every 15 kids is getting a 30 or higher. So that became one of our goals. There's a couple easy ways to do it. First of all, we make it important. One thing that we did there was we added a 30 and over ACT board. So just like all your other record boards, like for track, all your other sports, we put a record board right next to it. And on it said the 30 and over ACT club. So we went back clear to the 80s and took everybody who was 30 and over, wrote them a letter, said, hey, we're proud of you. Can we put your name up there? Can we do that? What that quickly did was it showed the importance that academics are just as important as activities. And then it became to the point where when a student then would score 30 or higher, they would immediately come running to me saying, I want my name up there now. And that was one of their goals. And we had a girl that ended up playing Division I basketball for Colorado, and the first thing that she did, she had records all over the place academic-wise, but she would say the most important one that she was proud of was the one that she was on the 30 and over ACT. You can say, well, how do we get that done? Well, there's two ways. One, I know we started the ACT prep, but there's two things out there. There's also a guy named Chad Cargill from Oklahoma, if you look him up. He comes in and basically puts a presentation on that's about 3 hours. It's kind of a Cliff's Notes, which means kind of a short version of how to troubleshoot the ACT. And one of the things that he pushed that made a big difference was he took the ACT 19 times. And I think that sounds terrible to you guys. I'm sure you're going, what? I took it twice. And 23 is where I leveled out. So, that's how it was back then. But nobody talked about taking it that many times. ACT, because of him, they set the limit at 12. So both of our daughters, when they went through, they both took the ACT 11 times. And you say, well, why would you do that? Well, both of them started at 24s. And then at test 9, they didn't get to a 30 till test 9. And then in test 10, they both got over 31s. What people don't realize is nobody knows how many times you took the ACT. They don't know that. And now that you guys can do it, they're considering your super score, where they're taking the one from each one. And what was interesting on our oldest daughter was that after she took the third test, then if you go clear to test 9 or 10, when she came home, she goes, that was test 3. And I said, what? She goes, all of our friends said that was the third test. So they went back and they looked, it was the exact same test that they took 5 tests ago. So then everyone in that class then knew it, and those girls, 9 of those girls out of the class of 40 ended up scoring a 30 or higher. And we just find that kind of an interesting way. I think we can push that right away. The other thing that I'd like to see us do quickly, we're broadcasting our games on NFHS. That's fine. I'm good with that. But for people who want to watch the games, it's $10 a month, and it's just one more thing on your apps. So what we're doing is we're going to get 4 businesses that are going to cover that. So if you start watching our games here, probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks, you'll see all our games on NFHS will be free. And we'll be one of the few schools that are doing that, and we'll have the broadcast. The next thing on that, though, is if you've watched our games or even been able to take time to do that, is we don't have audio. I would really like to see us get some students that want to learn how to do sports broadcasting, do that kind of thing, work with an adult, and get a broadcast any and all activities that we have so you guys can learn how to do that. So that's one more thing. The next thing, I also know it's difficult and it costs a lot to get into games. If you want to go to every single game, you're going to put out quite a bit of money. So the other thing that we want to do there is we're hoping to add soon with a digital pass called GoFan. And we can put a lower rate so you guys can buy a group of passes at a lower rate to start with and get into more activities. So that's some of the things we want to do right away.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was quite a bit.
No,
But
those are all great things.
Amazing. Yes.
And now we'll hear a word from our sponsors.
If you are looking to be a future business owner and want to learn ways to become successful doing so, then K's Club is for you. They meet on the second and third Wednesday of every month at 8:15 a.m. As a club, their focus is on community service and leadership. Any further questions can be answered by the sponsor, Mrs. Mitchell.
Welcome back to At the Hill. We are here with Superintendent Mr. Lambert. So what are also some things you want to implement from your old school into Rose Hill?
yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I'd like to see us do along with that is there's so many good things going on at the school. I just don't know how good we're telling our story. You guys are trying to tell our story. You guys have been trying to tell our story for years, and you've done a good job. Like if you take a look at the Rocket Productions magazine that your class does, that's unbelievable. And I don't know if you knew this, but several Derby sent out one this summer, and several people hit me up and said, look what Derby's doing. Like, Rose Hill's been doing that for years. And the difference is getting it out there, getting people to know. So one of our goals is to get it out right away. So we're hoping to hit, I think right now, 2,600 mailboxes. So that magazine would go out to 2,600 people, maybe more. You can say, well, okay, what about the taxpayer who thinks that's too expensive? We'll have a sponsor that will take care of postage and production of the magazine. And so that's one of the things that I'm really excited about, getting it out there. Also, by adding audio to our activities that we live stream, one more place that we can promote ourselves. I guess I'm a firm believer that if you're not telling your story, somebody else is going to tell it. So I think that's what we have to do as a school, is get our story out there, what we're doing great, and then work on that.
Yes. What are you most excited about for this school year?
So far, just everybody's been so friendly. So that's been probably one of the things that have made me extremely happy. I've noticed that one of the things that I try to do is I kind of have two things that are important to me. One, be present. That means be at things, be there for people, be in the moment, be that type of thing. The other is be kind. To me, we're to the point where I don't think people understand how important it is just to be kind to people. So I'm about being present, be kind. So far, I've met a lot of people here that are like that. So that's probably been my most exciting thing, is that, and also how much potential's here.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Mr. Lambert.
Hey, it was a true pleasure, and I really appreciate everything that this class has been doing, and I look forward to see what you guys are putting out.
Thanks.
Thank you for watching and listening to At the Hill on the Rocket Productions Network. Remember to subscribe to the Rocket Productions Network on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, or any place where you listen to podcasts. If you are not already a subscriber to Rocket Productions on YouTube, please subscribe. Until next time, for Emma Hayes and Kimber Lovell, I'm Alexa Marshall.